Today we are diving into smart ways to keep you and your little ones cool, protected, and safe under those summer rays. From sunscreen tips to hydrating, here with tips to keep you safe from the sun this season is Dr. Dyan Hes. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Well, Dr. Hes, let me tell you, I have a 1-year-old who is going on 2, and keeping her protected from the sun is one of my top priorities this summer, but there's so many things as parents we have to be on the lookout for. So let's start with sunscreen. What do you suggest?
A mineral-based sunscreen. So you want something with titanium dioxide or zinc oxide, something thick.
Okay.
You know, the truth is those spray-on like aerosols are not as protective as.
Although they are convenient.
They are good.
Yeah.
They are good,
Yeah.
and there's different brands that are good, and you have to look into it. Also, like keeping a hat on their head in the summer if you can, and if you can't keep a hat on their head when they're in the pool, like putting sunscreen on their scalp. Actually, especially in the part line.
Yes.
I can tell you that my son, at 6.5 years old, I noticed that he had something on his scalp, and we had it taken off. And he's dark. We're dark, and he and it was already dysplastic at the age of 6.5. So you have to be really careful.
And I'm so glad you said this. I hope my husband is watching, because I got a scalp sunblock for my daughter, and so important. You heard it here first. The doctor said scalp sunscreen is important. But tell us what type of SPF we should be looking for our children, and especially when you overexposed on the beach, going outside to play sports, all the things that kids are doing this summer.
So 30 and over, and you want to make sure you reapply, and you never want to buy. I mean, they do advertise sunscreen that goes with insect repellent, but you never want to use that because the sunscreen has to be applied much more often than insect repellent. So you just stick with the sunscreen, reapply after they're in the pool or at the beach. Yeah.
So important, so important. And one thing too, I think a lot of parents are keeping themselves alert for is heat exhaustion. We have little ones who will play for a long time. What are some of the things we should be on lookout for heat exhaustion, and what should we be hydrating our children with?
Well, water, water, water.
Got it.
Yeah, and that's always on the medical exams, and the answer is always water. It's not one of those electrolyte fluids.
Good to know. Good to know.
Just keep your kids hydrated with water. You know, if they're feeling a little peaked, I mean, it's okay to give them one of those hydration fluids, but really water is all they need.
Gotcha. And what are the things?
And keep them cool.
Keep them cool. What are the things we should be on lookout for when they're on the playground? What are the symptoms of heat exhaustion?
They might start saying they have a headache.
Okay.
You know, they kind of become a little loopy, and actually they just kind of collapse. They just all of a sudden they come up because they play till their battery runs out.
Right.
So they don't say like, they don't come up and say like, I'm feeling a little
exhausted.
A little off.
Yeah.
They'll like just keep on playing, and then all of a sudden they're like, my head, or I'm so hot, so hot, I'm burning up, and it's already like their body temperature actually goes up because they're so overheated.
And
then you have to cool them off. Cold blankets, cold fluids.
And this is everything I think is a mother's worst nightmare, is seeing your child heat exhausted on the playground. Another thing you brought up that I would love to touch on is bug spray, because we're spending long days and long late afternoons out in the sun, and bugs can be tricky. It can be tricky depending on where you are in the country, but bugs can be an issue everywhere this summer.
Exactly. So what we recommend, and the American Academy of Pediatrics recommends, is to use a bug spray that has at least 30%, 25% to 30% DEET. And that will really keep away the mosquitoes and the ticks that we're afraid of, things like West Nile virus, Lyme disease, and other rickettsial tick-borne illnesses. And also to, like, if you know your child's going on a camping trip or hiking, or even at the beach where the dunes are, there's a lot of ticks, you know, not to run in there because they go around their ankles where those grassy areas are. And if they're going on a hike, to like tell them to tuck their pants into their
socks,
into their socks, or wear high socks when you're going on those camping trips. And remember, check your kids every night when they come home from camp or an outing at the park. Ticks like to go in hot crevices, so they go in the underarms, they go in your butt, in the cracks.
Oh my goodness. Check all the crevices.
All the crevices.
These are the things we all have to do as parents. And another thing I would like to, this is a personal question of mine, because I have a little one, I have a toddler who was a baby. All the mom blogs say to stay away from DEET. How early can we put bug spray that contains DEET on our little ones? And also, would you recommend any DEET-free bug sprays?
So you can use Picardin, that's not DEET. There are also things like eucalyptus eucalyptus, lemon oil, all these other kinds, they're not as effective. And the truth is the benefits of the DEET, not getting Lyme disease or not getting West Nile virus, are much bigger than any of the side effects.
Right.
The other thing is you can put the DEET on their clothes. You don't have to apply it on their skin.
Okay.
And they also make clothing with picardin in it that actually is has insect repellent.
I've seen that.
Yes.
I've seen that. Now,
Yes.
the more you know. I'm going to load up my Amazon cart now.
You know, I would say you want to put, if you're going to be in a buggy area and you don't want to put it on your child's skin, even after 2 months, just put it on the clothes, or just put a mosquito net over what they're on. You don't have to put it directly on their skin. And those mosquito nets are great. You could put them on a pack and play when you're in your yard.
Yes.
You could put it over the stroller.
Yes.
And remember, the mosquitoes come out at dusk.
Oh, absolutely. I have a mosquito net over the stroller, and I keep it in the car every day just for those reasons alone. Doctor, my last question is, what is the one tip you want all parents to keep front of mind this summer? And I'm sure water safety is super important, sun exposure and sun safety is super important, but what's your final thoughts for parents?
The water safety is the biggest one because, you know, drowning is one of the largest causes of death in young children. And, you know, everybody wears these floaties these days, and there's floaties that go around their waist and around their arms. But what happens with floaties is those kind of floaties, or water wings, is that they teach the child that they feel safe standing up in the pool, like being vertical in a pool. So when a child gets to a pool, if it's not fenced or there's no adult around and they jump in, they think swimming is vertical.
Gotcha.
So they don't learn to put their feet up. So you want to get a Coast Guard approved life vest, and you want to make sure that your child knows that they have to be floating and that their feet have to be behind them and that they don't stand up straight in a pool. Wow.
Well, Dr. Hes, I know you are saving lives with all the tips you gave us. Thank you so much. We're going to be sure to do this segment multiple times and make sure all parents have all the information they need to know this summer. Dr. Hes, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You can find out more information at highlinemodernmedicine.com.